Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Kono District. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Sierra Leone. These greetings they go to all Salon Pikin the wedding at the diaspora and una with the back home na Sierra Leone. And also they go to all Kono Pikin the wedding at the diaspora and una with the back na Sierra Leone. Today again, I don't come for can talk to una about another important topic. Me na David Bongbo, the canto owner from Kono News Network. And before we go further, I want to tell thank you to everybody who does subscribe to this channel. And also the way they listen to me for the first time, I'd encourage you for una subscribe, una share, una like, una click the notification bell so that whenever I come on air, una go hear, una go listen, and una go contribute, una go participate. We country now we all get on. It then the politicians their hand, it then we the citizens their hand. And when we see things them way not good, we not for keep quiet, we for talk about them. And when we talk about them, we for present them to the authorities and with respect. And we expect we authorities themselves for listen. And when we authorities and they listen, they need for also take action. When then they take action, they not for be biased. Therefore, make sure say they take action and favor nobody and make sure say everybody in conflict or in any situation get the justice and all man move and go in your own way. So this evening I'll get for talk about the topic where the talk say speaking truth to power in Sierra Leone and the voice of Kono within the happen inside Kono district. Good evening to my valued listeners across Sierra Leone and in the diaspora, and especially to the resilient people of Kono district. This is your voice on Kono News Network, bringing forward the concerns of ordinary citizens and the hopes of communities that continue to believe in a better future of our nation. Tonight, we speak about a very important principle in democracy, the courage to speak truth to power. In a nation grows stronger not when people remain silent, but when citizens are free to express their concerns, ask difficult questions, and hold leaders or leaderships accountable. Speaking out about national issues should never be seen as an act of hostility. It should be seen as an act of patriotism. But today, many citizens in Kono and across the country are asking serious questions about the directions of governance and the protection of community interest. Let us begin with the issue of land allocation to mining investors. Kono district has long been known as the diamond heartland of Sierra Leone. For decades, the minerals beneath its soil have contributed to national revenue and global markets. Yet, many community members are asking, who truly benefits from these resources? There are growing concerns that land is being allocated to mining companies without sufficient consultations with the people whose livelihoods depends on that land. Farmers, landowners, and local communities want transparency. They want to know the terms of agreements signed in their name. They want assurances that development will not destroy their environment, their farms, and their future. Development must not come at the cost of the very communities whose resources sustain the nation. Another issue causing concern is the intimidation of bloggers, social activists, and independent voices. In a healthy democracy, journalists, bloggers, and activists play a crucial role. They raise awareness, They ask questions. They amplify the voices of the people. While citizens feel intimidated for expressing concerns, it creates fear. And when fear replaces open dialogue, democracy begins to weaken. Constructive criticism should not be treated as an attack. It should be welcomed as an opportunity to improve governance. Then there is the pressing issue of youth unemployment. Across Kono District, many young people wake up every day with hope, but without opportunities. They see the wealth of minerals leaving their communities, yet they struggle to find jobs, training, or pathways to build their future. When young people feel excluded from economic opportunities, frustration grows. And when frustration grows, society becomes vulnerable to instability, crime, and manipulations. The youth of Kono are not asking for charity. They are asking for opportunity to work, to innovate, and to contribute to national development. Another serious challenge facing communities is the increasing presence of drugs and narcotics. Parents, teachers, and community leaders are deeply worried about the spread of drugs abuse among young people. Drugs destroy potentials, weaken families, and threaten the safety of entire communities. Stronger enforcement, better education, and rehabilitation programs are urgently needed to protect the next generation. But perhaps one of the most troubling concerns being raised by citizens is the alleged use of thugs to intimidate community members who raise concerns about local issues. No citizen should ever feel threatened for speaking about the welfare of their community. Intimidation only deepens mistrust and widens the gap between the people and those in authority. Our nation must never allow fear to replace dialogue. And this brings us to another key issue: the lack of constructive dialogue between stakeholders and communities. For development to succeed, all voices must be heard. Government officials, mining companies, traditional leaders, civil society organizations, and community members must sit at the same table and engage in honest conversations. When dialogue is absent, misunderstanding grows, rumors spread, conflicts escalate. But when dialogue is encouraged, solution becomes possible. The strength of any democracy lies not in the absence of criticism, but in the willingness to listen and respond to it. Intolerance towards constructive criticism weakens governance and erodes public trust. Sierra Leone is a nation rich in natural resources, culture, and resilient people. But true development will only happen when the voices of citizens are represented and when leadership embraces transparency and accountability. As we reflect tonight, let us remember this simple truth: speaking truth to power is not rebellion, it is responsibility. Citizens who raise concerns are not enemies of the state. They are partners in nation building. They are voices calling for fairness, justice, and progress. The people of Kono and Sierra Leone have contributed enormously to the prosperity of this nation. They deserve to be heard. They deserve to be respected. And they deserve to benefit from the resources that come from their land. The future of Sierra Leone will depend on leaders who listen, communities that engage constructively, and a system that values dialogue over intimidation. Let us build a nation where truth is not feared, where criticism is not silenced, and where every citizen has the freedom to speak and the opportunity to thrive. Because when truth is allowed to speak, nations move forward. This is my reflection regarding speaking truth to power. I will now ask your indulgence to listen to me as I go through some few more details regarding speaking truth to power. When we talk about speaking truth to power, we are talking about constructive dialogue, constructive criticism, and something that will help the leadership to also develop, grow, and contribute in building the communities. Now, the first thing I want us to look at is open reflection. The importance of speaking truth to power are the following. In every democracy, citizens must have the freedom to raise concerns without fear. When people speak about governance problems, they are not enemies of the state. They are partners in nation building. Communities like Kono District have contributed immensely to the development of Sierra Leone, especially through mineral resources, yet residents still struggle with poverty and lack of opportunities. We look at land allocation to mining investors. Growing public concerns about how land is being allocated to mining companies, key questions that citizens are always asking. Are local communities properly consulted before agreements are signed? Do chiefs and local authorities represent the true interests of the people? Are environmental protections and community development obligations clearly defined? Communities want transparent agreements, not secret negotiations. So this will be the talking point under land allocation. Development must never come at the cost of people whose land and livelihoods are being taken. Let us go further and look at intimidation of bloggers, activists, and independent voices. Increasing complaints about pressure and intimidation towards bloggers and social activists. In a democracy, citizens must be able to ask questions without fear. Media voices should inform, not be silenced. Suppressing criticism does not solve problems. It only hides them temporarily. So this should be the discussion question under this. Are we creating a society where truth is welcome, or one where people fear speaking? Okay, let's look at youth unemployment. Youth unemployment remains one of the biggest threats to stability in Kono district and especially also in Sierra Leone. Many young people feel excluded from mining benefits, excluded from economic opportunities. When young people lack jobs, they become vulnerable to crime, drugs, or manipulation by political actors. So these are the key discussion points. Mining wealth must translate into jobs, skills training, and entrepreneurship opportunities for local youth. We move on to the next topic, that would be inadequate control of drugs and narcotics. Communities report increasing drugs abuse among young people. Weak enforcement and poor rehabilitation services are worsening the situation. Drug abuse threatens the following: community safety, public health, youth productivity. And in that, we ask this important question: what are authorities doing to stop the flow of drugs into mining communities and urban centers? These are questions that are left for the public to answer and for our authorities to respond. Use of thugs against community members. Disturbing allegations that group of thugs are sometimes used to intimidate citizens who raise concerns. Such actions create fear and deepen mistrust between communities and authorities. This is a strong message. No citizen should be treated as an enemy for defending their land, their rights, and their future. We move on. Lack of constructive dialogue between stakeholders and communities. One of the major gaps in governance is lack of meaningful dialogue. Stakeholders include government, mining companies, traditional authorities, civil society, and community members. Without dialogue, mistrust grows, misinformation spreads, and conflicts escalate. What should be our simple solution to this? Regular community consultation, town hall meetings, and forums and public accountability meetings. We'll be able to, at least when we have town hall meetings, we have public fora to speak out, we hear about burning issues, and then authorities will know what to address. Intolerance towards constructive criticism is my next point that I want to talk about. Healthy democracies welcome criticism. Constructive criticism should be seen as the following: feedback for improvement, an early warning system, and a tool for better governance. Silencing critics can lead to bigger national crises later on. So what should be the way forward? For progress in Connaught District and Sierra Leone, transparent mining agreements should be the norm of the day. Protection for freedom of expression, youth employment initiatives tied to mining revenues, stronger drug control and rehabilitation programs put in place, peaceful dialogue between communities and authorities, respect for constructive criticism, and civic participation. In closing, I have the following to say. Speaking truth to power is not rebellion. It is responsibility. When citizens raise concerns, they are not destroying the nation. They are trying to save it. The future of Connaught District and Sierra Leone depends on leaders who listen, communities who speak, and a system that values dialogue over intimidation. Fambulden, for make a close this discussion, I just give for summarize briefly for say, we're not afraid for speak truth to power. If we speak that truth they with respect, and we make let the power themselves understand and what we try for pass on to them. I also send this message to we chief them, to we authorities them, to all stakeholders in Sierra Leone, especially in Connaught District, for let we not become too stubborn, let we learn for be very open, let we get an open door policy, who say we dey listen and make sure say we also become very susceptible to criticism, and let them criticism then they help we for build we authorities, let them help we for build we governance policies. I want for tell una all thank you we don't take time for listening to me. I also want for tell thank you to the one that we don't subscribe to this channel. I'd encourage every other person for continue for subscribe, wanna share, wanna like, wanna comment, and wanna also send me questions then we wanna feel say we need for address. This again na David Bongo the Cantor from Corner News Network. I want for tell you all thank you. On a good night.